Okay, I want to share how an episode of Grey's Anatomy actually made me a better teacher. I know this sounds crazy. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I was watching an episode of Grey's Anatomy one time, and in this episode, Dr. Yang comes out with this study, right? She has the magazine from a journal article she was reading, and I don't even remember all of the details about it, but essentially she took that article and she walked up to somebody else and she was like, look what they're doing in here, I want to try this. And I remember thinking at the time, why don't we act like that in education? Why is it that there's such a long trickle down from the research that's happening to get into the classrooms? And that made me feel like we as teachers should be more in touch with what's going on in the research. Now, the interesting thing is recently I heard a podcast that talked about this exact dynamic and this exact comparison of medical research to education research. And in the podcast, they basically said there's just a lot of complexities with making that comparison. It's not as, black and white as the binary that a lot of folks make. So I guess a lot of other folks also felt this idea why in education don't we treat research the way we do in medicine? I obviously didn't know that at the time either. So for me, it was very instrumental, and it made me want to understand the research and try to bring it into my classroom a little more closely. Now, the hard part obviously is that when you're a teacher, you're doing a million and one things in the classroom anyway. So who really has time to sit down and read these research articles? There just isn't enough time in the day to be able to understand all of that, which is why I wanted to go to grad school. But when I went to grad school, I really took all of that research and information and I soaked it up. I analyzed it, I picked through it, I questioned it, I learned from it. And then when I got back into the classroom, I utilized it. And that was a really powerful moment for me, to be able to take everything that I had researched and let it sit in my brain and then utilize that in my classroom. I constantly said, I went to Harvard for my grad school, right? So I would say I'm taking that Harvard education and I'm bringing it here to Humboldt Park, and I imparted it on my students. I was not the perfect teacher. I was not the best teacher. There's so many years of practice that you need to do that, and you don't have to go to Harvard to be a great teacher either. But that was my journey, and that was what I needed to do, and it was inspired by that Grey's Anatomy episode. Today, I still rely heavily on research. I'm still very into seeing what's out there, questioning it, analyzing it, trying to understand it, and I really am I'm just so happy that I came across that episode and it inspired me the way that it did.